If you own a townhome in Kelowna right now and you're planning to trade up to a detached home, there's a trap hiding in the numbers that could cost your family tens of thousands of dollars if you don't see it coming and prepare yourself. Detached home prices are climbing, but townhome prices are moving in the opposite direction. And almost nobody is talking about what that split actually does to a family who's trying to move from one to the other. So in this video, I'll show you what prices are doing, why it's happening, and by the end of the video, exactly how to protect yourself and still make an informed move that works in your favor. Some news headlines say that prices are climbing in Kelowna, and that's true for one segment, but it's hiding what's happening in the others. See, according to the Association of Interior REALTORS, the benchmark price for a single family detached home in Kelowna is now $1,072,000. That's about 2.3% higher than it was this time last year. The detached home market is holding its value and it's climbing slowly. But here's the part that didn't make the headlines. The townhome benchmark price came in at $709,000, which is down about 2.4% year over year. So, same market, same month, but two segments that are moving in completely different directions. And that's not just two different numbers. That's a swing of almost 5 percentage points between the two segments in a single year. Detached up 2.3%, townhomes down 2.4%. And when you put those two trend lines on the same chart, the gap between them is the real story. So if you're sitting in a townhome right now and you're thinking about that detached home with more room, a yard, more bedrooms, what does a gap like that actually do to your numbers when you're on both sides of it at once? Here's an example of what's really happening in the market. Say you bought a townhome in Glenmore or Rutland a few years ago. Your family's grown and now you want a detached home in, say, the Lower Mission or Black Mountain. You're on both sides of this gap at the same time. The home you're selling sits in the segment that's softening, that's going down, and the home that you want to buy sits in the segment of the market that's getting more expensive. See, most families plan their move using last year's numbers, what their townhome was worth then, what detached homes cost then. And if you were to carry those numbers forward to today, you can end up short on both sides. Your townhome is going to sell for less than you were expecting, and the target detached home that you're looking at is going to be more expensive than you expected. And I mean, on their own, those percentages are small, but together on say, a $700,000 sale and $1 million purchase, that spread adds up to a real number. And that can catch you off guard. I mean, it can mean a difference between $50,000 or more. So, why is this happening in the first place? Is it demand, or is something else going on in the market? This isn't just something random going on in the market. There's a supply side and a demand side in every market. And on detached homes, both of those are pulling in the same direction right now. Demand for single family homes in Kelowna is strong. I mean, people want to live here. Families want the yard and the extra space, and that demand hasn't slowed down, especially in neighborhoods that people are targeting for long term. And at the same time, supply is starting to tighten. Across the interior, active listings are down about 7.8%, and new listings dropped over 12% year over year. Detached homes in the neighborhoods families actually want to live in, like Wilden, Kettle Valley, the Upper Mission, those listings stay scarce. And you can see from the inventory graph, townhome inventory stayed relatively flat over the last couple of years. In the single family detached home market, inventory tends to cycle up so that we have more inventory in, May, June, July, and that happens every year, and then inventory declines into the later parts of the year. But in 2026, even though inventory increased as expected into the spring market, it came in less than it was this time last year. There's just simply fewer single family homes listed on the market. And then on the townhome side, there's more new product has come to the market over the last couple of years, which means that the competition among sellers in that category is increasing. The competition also softens the price. So strong, steady demand and tight supply on the detached side, with more competition among sellers on the townhome side is kind of the engine that's behind the split in prices. And this isn't a one-time gap that's going to correct itself. As long as demand for detached homes stays strong and inventory stays tight, that spread is more likely to widen than close on its own. The longer a family waits to make this move, the more ground they're probably going to have to make up in prices. But here's the part that can change the math for a lot of families. That 1,072,000 benchmark is an average across every detached home in Kelowna, and it's being pulled up by the most expensive neighborhoods. In some areas, detached homes are selling well under that number, which means you may not have to close the full gap between your townhome and your dream home in one move. You've got options. There are neighborhoods like parts of Rutland, Springfield, parts of Kelowna North, which have less expensive prices. The strategy some families are using to get into a detached home is to buy in a more attainable neighborhood first. You get the yard, you get out of the townhome market, and you're no longer racing against a rising benchmark. Then you use the time and equity in that first detached home to work towards the neighborhood you actually want to be in when you're ready. Here's what I actually walk clients through when they're in this exact spot so that the gap works for them instead of against them. First, get a current, honest value on your townhome before you fall in love with a detached listing. Not last year's number, but a real comparable based value today. Then get pre-approved and know your real net proceeds after your selling costs, so your detached home budget is based on facts and not a guess. And then third, think carefully about sequencing. Townhomes are typically taking about 50 days on the market to sell or more if they sell at all. Detached homes are taking less time to sell, and you could miss out on your ideal home if you aren't actively trying to sell your current townhome while you're looking. If you're actively looking, we can get your home or your townhome listed and build in protections so you're never left without anywhere to go. That can mean making your sale subject to you finding a new home, or negotiating a longer closing so you have time to find the right detached property once you have an accepted offer on yours. The families who get caught off guard here are the ones who assume that both segments are moving together. But the families who come out ahead price their sale correctly and walk into their next purchase with real numbers. If you're a growing family in a townhome thinking about a detached home, this is your window to plan properly. The gap between these two segments is real and it's growing, and it's the single most important number for your move this year. You don't need to rush, you just need the current numbers on both sides of the move so that you can make a decision that feels confident instead of anxious, and you know the real numbers you're working with. When you know what your net proceeds of selling your current home are, you'll feel confident with what it will take to make that next move and to take that next step. And if you want to know exactly what your townhome is worth today and what your real budget looks like to look for a detached home in Kelowna, reach out to me directly and I'll walk you through your actual numbers and give you, a straightforward answer and straightforward advice on what the best move is for you. And if you found this video helpful, drop a comment down below and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.